welcome back to Cheese and Turtles. My name is Imogen. In today's video, I'm not talking about productivity at all. I'm talking about marriage. So I wanted to talk about this because a lot of my stuff on here is to do with productivity, yes, but a lot of it's also to do with like mental health and lifestyle. And marriage is a big important topic for a lot of us. And I actually don't particularly want to get married, like full stop, okay? I've done other videos about being child-free and not wanting to have children, but I think the concept of like not wanting to get married for a woman is still a little bit, like, it's still a little bit of a touchy topic. Like, obviously, I think it's like accepted in some circles to not want to get married, but I think it's more accepted for men. So I wanted to talk about why I don't want to get married currently, and also why I don't foresee that changing in the future. So if you're not already subscribed, make sure to do that, give this video a thumbs up, follow me on Instagram, and let's get started. So I grew up very much like surrounded by married couples, and you know, marriage was presented to me as something that is like very common to want, a very positive thing, and so on and so forth. However, I have ended up being resolutely anti-marriage for myself. Like, if other people want to get married, fantastic. I think that's great. Like, go you, honestly. The same with other people who want to have kids. Someone's got to do it. I'm not going to. Okay, so good for you. Like, I am cheering for you. But personally, not for me. Here's why. So in its current state, marriage is not an institution which I feel benefits me. Now, I'm going to go into more detail about this in a minute, but I feel like marriage is not an institution which benefits me, and my rule for things that are in my life, they have to tie into my overall vision, and they have to tie into, like, they have to add to my life in some way, and I just don't feel it adds to my life. So applying that rule, that's pretty much the basis of this whole video, and the basis of, like, my whole philosophy. So it doesn't benefit me, so therefore, why would I do it? That's pretty much it. Like, that's the video summed up. But to go into more detail, firstly, it has religious connotations that I'm not comfortable with. So obviously there is such a thing as a civil partnership, and I'll get into more detail about why I'm not interested in that either later on. But marriage in its sort of fundamental sense, especially because I grew up Catholic, although I am no longer religious. I grew up Catholic, so marriage was very much a sort of religious thing for me, and I know it's not always, and it doesn't have to be, but for me it's got a lot of like religious connotations which I am not comfortable with, especially as someone who's no longer religious. I feel like it would sort of kind of drag me back in that direction, which I just don't want to deal with that anymore. So I don't want to do that. Okay, the second reason is that marriage is often a mononormative structure. So something I don't really talk about much on here. Now, I've made a video about like being bi, and I am bi, but I am also polyamorous. Now, what does that mean? That means that I have the ability to form romantic and or like general dating connections with more than one person at a time, and I think the key is that I have the capacity to be committed to more than one person at a time. And now I haven't really talked much about this on here because honestly I try to keep my dating life private, but the institution of marriage is a very mononormative one, in that obviously, you know, you marry one person at a time. Like, the legal structure is set up that way. And for me, if I was to marry someone, that would create a hierarchy in my relationships. Now I am, you know, I'm currently single. I've been in like serious relationships in the past. That doesn't mean I'm not seeing anyone. It's a complicated situation which I'm not going to dive more into right now because I deserve privacy. But in the sense of this context of marriage, marriage is currently a very mononormative institution. So you marry one other person, and that's just kind of not compatible with me right now, and I don't see it being compatible with me in the future. So there's that. Okay. Now, this next point is kind of like, it depends on your context, but marriage often comes with an expectation of having kids. Now, obviously, not all couples will have kids, and not all couples are expected to have kids, but the whole, like, marriage thing comes with a suffix of "and kids" often. And I don't want kids. If you want to understand more about this, then go and check out my video on being child-free, which is, it's been a while, but I still think that video, like, is pretty much the same as what I'd say now, although the production quality isn't that great. Maybe I should make an updated video. How would you guys like a series about being child-free, or just an updated video? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, that's a topic for another video. But there's a kind of expectation around marriage that you will have kids, and it kind of feeds into the whole like nuclear family, mononormative thing that I was talking about before. So I'm not having kids. Deal with it. Okay, divorce. Let's talk about divorce. Okay, so when I am so if I was to be in a relationship right now and I didn't want to be in a relationship, I would break up. If you're in a marriage, it's not that simple. Now, divorce can be very complicated from a legal standpoint. You've got to get lawyers, it can be expensive, it can be just generally a headache. And to me, divorce seems super expensive and unnecessary. Therefore, marriage is also kind of super expensive and unnecessary. So I can think of so much more interesting things. Was that grammatically correct? Not sure. So many more interesting things that I would rather be doing with my time and my money and my energy than getting married and possibly divorced if I want to break up with someone. Okay, so not really interested in getting into that whole like mess right there. Okay, the final reason is that I like living alone and being single-ish. Now, when you get married with someone, obviously there are several married couples who like live separately, and like if I was to ever get married, that setup would really suit me. I think it would really suit me. But why would I do that when I can do that right now? And why would I go through the whole like palaver of getting married when I could do that right now? And like I like living alone and being single-ish. Okay, like it gives me a lot of time to myself, and it gives me a lot of like space, and I can just decide what I want to do with my schedule, decide what I want to do with my life. Okay, and if you think this is selfish, I really don't care. Like I literally do not give a fuck. So I feel like getting married would compromise my quality of life, and it doesn't fit into it's not an institution that benefits me. It doesn't fit into my life plan right now. So I just kind of wanted to make this video because I think often, and it is getting better, but often as women we're expected to, you know, want the whole like marriage thing. And if, you know, you're a woman and you're watching this and you think I want to get married, then good for you. Honestly, there is no shame in that. And the whole point of like developing society and being more progressive is that you can choose to do literally whatever you want with your life. Like if you want to get married, you want to have kids, you want to get married but not have kids, you want to any of that, I absolutely support you. I think it's wonderful that anyone can choose to do whatever they want, pretty much. But I just kind of wanted to show the other side of it, because I kind of have an idea for my life that's less conventional and less talked about, and I just wanted to normalise that. Like, I think a lot of my work in the kind of mental health lifestyle side of my channel is about normalising things, because I am kind of unconventional in a lot of ways, and I embody a lot of things that people don't necessarily talk about very much. So I just want to be like, hey, I'm here, I exist, this is my perspective. And maybe it's one that you haven't heard as much, but I think we should normalise the conversation and normalise people doing what they want with their lives, because, you know, it's not one size fits all. There is no right way to be a woman, and we should talk about that. And I wanted to talk about that because I like yapping on camera, I like using my voice. So that is a very long rant on marriage. If you're not already subscribed, make sure to do that, give this video a thumbs up, follow me on Instagram, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay, mwah, bye!